We are back. We are back with another episode of Isaac Doesn't Cut Up His Videos and Just Talks in front of a camera. If you've been following me or you're subscribed to me, you probably see that I just literally put up random videos. Not totally random, but random in the sense that I just get in front of here and talk. I answer NFL questions, and I don't know, it's kind of fun. Like I've said in past videos, I want to start doing this because I make the TikTok content, and this is just like a longer form content. I also think there's just something so good about practicing speaking. I think I do a good job speaking, but being able to just get on here and just talk and chat and get better at it, it's kind of nice. And I'm enjoying it, so that's what we're gonna do. So I posted the last video where I talked about practice squad, like the difference between practice squad and regular. When I say regular, practice squad players in the NFL, and then 53-man roster players in the NFL. And I kind of went through the scheduling difference. Turns out there is no scheduling difference. You're doing the same thing. And I said, hey, if you have other questions, comment. And there were tons of really good comments, 15 to be exact. Thank you guys. And one that came up was, what kind of stocks do you invest in? Now, I am not going to sit here and bore you guys with what stocks I invest in. But what I'm going to talk about is what I've done with my money. Right after I get you some water. When I say you water, me water, because I'm thirsty. So, hold on. I'm coming back. I'm just going to keep talking to you so you don't get bored. Okay. It's another thing that I found out last time I did the video. I'm like sitting there talking, and I'm like, God, dog, why am I out of breath? Sheesh. I was so like tired. So now I make sure to have my water. But people have like always asked me, what do you do with your money? There's all these statistics about NFL players going broke, which I hate because they're so inaccurate. I actually did a video a few days ago talking about the inaccuracies of some of the statistics around NFL players going broke. But I think I've done a really good job with my money. I'm gonna be honest, I've had essentially minimum deals for the majority of my career. When I say minimum deals, I'm referring to like each year you have in the NFL, each additional credited season you have in the NFL, there's like a minimum that the NFL can pay you. It goes up each year, which is super nice. But I've, for 6 years almost, been on minimum deals. Now last year when I was with the Colts, I was not on a minimum deal. I had some guaranteed money, I had some incentives, which was super nice. But I've had to be really creative with my money. And you know, I've just always thought that the money that you make in the NFL is that money divided by a lifetime, right? So if you make $10 in the NFL and you live, you know, however many more years, it's $10 divided by how many years you live. Horrible example because $10 is bad, but that's kind of the thought process that I've had. And so that's like one frame of mind, which is centered around saving. The other frame of mind is this money that I make in the NFL is money that is just like foundational. If I'm looking at myself and my ability to make money, work, etc. after football, then I'm like, shoot, let me do something a little bit more aggressive with this money. I'm young, feel great, I'm smart, went to Notre Dame, so I have a lot of upside post NFL, and that's what I've thought about. Like, how can I take this money that I've made and leverage it? So I'm just gonna kind of go through some of the things that I've done with my money. And yeah, I mean, you guys can comment, ask more questions about it. If you have more questions about certain areas, I can go in more detail. But I'll just talk generally right now. First, let me take another sip of water. Shout out Notre Dame, by the way. Couldn't even be doing this video if I didn't go to Notre Dame. They taught me everything I know. So, my first year in the NFL, I was on practice squad, but I played, I think I had like 6 regular game checks. And I was able to save a good amount of money. But that first year, I immediately told myself, I want to get something in the markets. I want to put some money in the markets to just start working. So, first year, I put 10% of what I made in the markets. I'm going to try to stray away from giving you guys specific numbers because I don't want to be that guy. But maybe I will in other videos. 10% of what I made that year went into a marketing account. That was pretty much all I did that first year. And another thing is I didn't really have, one of my homies is calling me. I'm gonna have to call him back. I didn't really have many opportunities outside of that. I didn't really explore like the networking and the networks that I had access to. I didn't explore those networks. So I just was like, I'm gonna keep it simple. I wanna like put away money. I wanna have cash available because who knows what things could look like. But I was like, I'm putting 10% away. Fast forward, second and third season, I play the entire time. 2 straight years making my full salary. And by the end of those 2 years, 3 years total, after my third year in the NFL, I'm like, I got a little bit more money to play with. Now, I wasn't, one of my other good friends is calling me. I'm going to have to call them back. Now, I wasn't like rolling in cash, but I definitely had more money. So from year 1, putting in 10% of my money, to year 3, I continued to put money in the markets. That was something that I always knew I wanted to do. I was a guy who said, every check that I get, I want to immediately put 20% into the markets. Done. I went out of sight, out of mind, put it in the markets. So for 2 straight years after that first year, I put 20% directly into the markets. But then I'm like, okay, again, I have this pool of cash. What can I do with this? So after my third year, I invested in a company, like private equity. I'll tell you guys the company, Teamworks. I invested in Teamworks. I had used Teamworks for a long time. I had a lot of faith in Teamworks. They're still doing an incredible job. So I put money into Teamworks when they did a fundraise. I also bought my first house. I bought a house in Colorado Springs that was just a rental property. So those were like the 2 things that I did that were stepping out a little bit. Again, my networks had expanded. I had met some more people, so more opportunities came about. But after my third year in the NFL, I had a chunk of change that was in the markets. It was going to continue to grow. I'm not going to touch that money for a while. I now had 1 property, and I had invested in a company. Keep moving forward. Sorry if you hear my dog in the background. He's the neediest dog in the entire world. Literally, this man is so needy. Continue to move forward. Where I am now, since then, I have kind of followed that same path where if an opportunity presents itself to invest in a specific company, I will, if it makes sense. I've turned down companies, but I've also invested in companies. I think at this point I'm at 3 companies invested in. I think in the next few months that'll go to like 4 or 5 companies invested in. I now have, since that point, had a total of 5 home transactions. So 2 of which have been bought and sold. And then we currently own 3. 2 of those 3 are short-term vacation rental properties in Scottsdale. Go check them out, the Margot. I swear they're the best properties in Scottsdale. You can follow them on Instagram at Experience Margot. And we're going to continue to do that. Like, those are 2 areas, because I'm always going to put money in the markets. It's just kind of like, I'm going to do that. Like historically, you're going to return about 5 to 10% a year. On average, in 10 years, you're going to double your money. I'm going to keep doing that as like a foundational investment tactic. But I'm also going to explore the more aggressive, specific areas to invest in, which is real estate and the private equity. The private equity is probably the funnest for me because it's super cool to invest in a company and watch it grow. Excuse me. Just ate a good lunch. So, I got the burps. But like watching Teamworks grow over the last 4 years has been super fun. Even like following them on social media, engaging with them. I've actually introduced Teamworks to like professional teams that I've played on, and like being able to do that, that's like super fun. You feel like you have some skin in the game with these companies and you're making money off of it. And in their case, they're just an incredible platform. And real estate's the same way. Like my wife and I can leverage our following, our expertise, like the knowledge that we've gained, our experience, to be able to create these really cool short-term vacation rental properties. So that's what I've done with my money. When I look at like all the money that I've earned and like in the NFL, I immediately cut it in half because taxes for my tax bracket, and then after being in California, it's pretty much 50%. I look at that money. If you take what is left from that, if I never spent a dime, so let's just say $1 million. That's not what I've made in my career. I've made more than that. But let's just say $1 million. Cut that in half, 500,000 as an example. That $500,000, when I look at like the money that my wife and I have accumulated, like we've been able to kind of like stick around that 50% point after living, buying these homes, spending money on investments. Like we've been able to create extra income to kind of like maintain being around that point. So I don't even know if that example makes sense, but I just feel really good about what we've been able to do. And my wife is a huge part of that. She's an absolute beast. She's smarter than I am, and I think I'm pretty smart. But yeah, we've been extremely fortunate. So that's what I've done with my money. Again, these videos are not going to be super long. I don't want them to be long. I want you to be able to click and be like, ooh, 10 minutes, I'm locked in. I know what he's doing with his money. That's super interesting. Oh my God, NFL info, comment more questions. That's the whole point of this. One other thing I will say is, well, you know what? I'll do a part 2 on this video of what I've seen guys in the NFL do, because a lot of people are interested in, are guys going broke? Are NFL players done with their money? Are they just blowing all their money on chains and whatever, random stuff? I'll do a part 2 on that video if that's something you guys are interested in, where I'll talk about some of the peers that I've had. I would never name names and I would never get too specific, but I'll talk about some of the peers and the decisions that they've made to either make or lose money. Because there's definitely both case scenarios. So appreciate you guys. Continue to engage with my channel. It's fun for me. And yeah, let's keep this thing going. You know, let's catch up to my wife because she's got all the subscribers. And you know, I'm just crawling my way. I'm just here. Just crawling my way. So appreciate you guys. Like and subscribe. I shouldn't have dabbed. My wife would make fun of me. That was dumb. That was like a I'm uncomfortable in front of the camera, so I'm just gonna dab thing. But either way, appreciate you guys. Like and subscribe.